Hey guys, this is Pedro. I'm the DP of Don't Breathe 1 and 2, and also the new Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, and you're watching SlasherPepper.
Hey guys, SlasherPepper, and welcome to another video. Today is another interview, and this time with Pedro Luque. How are you doing?
Very good, man. How are you, Roger?
Awesome.
You good?
Doing fantastic. Glad to have you on the show.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. And I know you're currently in Barcelona working on new projects. Can you tell us more about that?
That is right. No, it's a little bit confidential. It's a nice movie. It's related somehow to my country, which is Uruguay. But it's a Netflix movie. It's big. It's one of the biggest. I think it's the biggest Netflix movie in Spanish, and it's with a very good director. He's Spaniard. He's related to a few movies we may know, about dinosaurs and stuff like that. So it's pretty easy to figure out. But it's a great guy, and it's a great director, and it's a kind of a passion project for me. I mean, it's really long and complicated and demented, but it's the one that you say, okay, I have to do this one.
Yeah,
I really have to.
Nice. Awesome. Sounds very promising.
Yeah.
And
let's see. I mean, I'm in the middle of prep now, and everything looks like, oh my fuck, how the shit I'm gonna do this shit. But
new challenges.
Yeah, but I guess step by step, baby steps. We'll make it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Awesome. Looking forward to it. And then to go back to your earlier project, what was it like filming Don't Breathe 2?
Well, I mean, it's Don't Breathe. It's very special to me because it's the movie we made with our friends, right? Whoa, wait. Here I am again.
There we go.
I got a call. Sorry. So I was telling you that Don't Breathe. It's a really special project for me because it's the movie we made with our friends, with Fede and Rodo, and I know these guys from when we were like 19. We met. We were working at different places. I remember Fede was editing at these commercials, like this production company that made commercials, and I was like an assistant camera. And suddenly, I was going to film school, and Fede was going to another film school, and I started to see his music videos, right? And I was like, that guy knows what he's doing. And eventually we cross paths, and he's a great guy. He's a great person, and we made friends. And also he's an awesome director. And with Rodo, Rodo is the Fede's partner in crime, let's say. So they were writing and doing everything together. With Rodo, we have a very special connection because I don't know, it's one of those people that you understand, completely, and we laugh our asses so much. He has a kind of humor that it cracks me up. I mean, it comes from another friend, but so when we made the first one, for me it was kind of the big break, because I did before that one. I did like another movie in the US, but it was like a small movie that nobody saw. And before that one, I made like maybe 6 movies in Uruguay, which one of these was The Silent House, which was a horror film that was a single shot horror film, right?
Oh, nice.
That was what we made it. We made it to Cannes with that movie, and the movie got remade. But when Fede gave me this opportunity, for me it was like huge. I first of all, I felt very honored to be the chosen one for Fede.
Yeah.
And we made the movie we wanted to see. We had so much fun making it, right? And then the movie was a big hit, and for me it was huge because I started to work more regularly after that one. And then when I always wanted them to make 3 of these movies, and I was telling them, like, this is your Godfather. You have to make three, you know.
Yeah.
And and they were like, no, I don't know, Pedro, I don't know if the story. And eventually we made this second one,
Yes.
which for us getting to the set and getting to see, you know, building the whole world and getting to see the blind man again was like, we were like, wow, he's alive, he's there, you know. And we had so much fun. At one point we will have people coming to the monitors where we were, like, yo guys, hush, we can hear your laughter from there, you know. Because we were like, no, motherfucker, he killed him. You know, we were having fun. Okay, just a little
Yeah,
symbol
the
here,
thumbs up
because
again.
I did like this. So it was actually, it was a tough experience because we were in Serbia and we were in COVID.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had shot another movie in Serbia before, like 2 or 3 years before, a movie that's called Extinction. And I knew the crew, I knew the people there, and I knew
Nice.
the place, and I felt they make you feel comfortable. It's a nice place. And also, I'm from South America, so all the roughness that, you know, Eastern Europe could have, it's like, yeah, man, it's like exactly like a home. And so, but it's a great place. And we had, I mean, it was very nice because I had we had some friends there. I had Manu, who was doing the second unit photography for me. I had Juanjo, which is a Spaniard camera operator that we're gonna work together in this movie. And that made this group really cohesive, and we really had fun. I think it was a movie I had more fun in my life, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it must
Yeah.
have been really cool to kind of see that world that you guys built in the first one, like
Yeah.
come back again in the second one.
Yeah, and also we made it knowing that it was the 2.0 movie, right? So
Yeah.
we wanted to make it bigger and more violent
Oh
and
yeah.
crazier. And
That's like the sequel rule.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know, in hindsight, I don't know if that was good or bad, but we felt that it was the right thing to do. And when I see the movie, I really enjoy it. I really, I mean, I'm like, what happened?
Man.
And 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 that thing was, you know, in a way, I think a little part of the movie has some kind of, you know, homage to the 80s movies we used to watch
Oh,
on
nice.
the TV when we were kids,
Okay.
you know.
Like which one
Like,
would you say it kind of
oh, we were like a huge melee, and, you know, a concoction of, you know, Delta Force with American Ninja Warrior and kickboxing, and, you know,
nice?
it's. But we know that that wasn't the movie we wanted to do with this one, because we took it really seriously. We really think about, or at least I speak about we, because I was always talking with Brodo and Fede about this. We really believe in the core of this story about what's evil, what's good, you know,
Yeah.
and where do they meet, and if does a bad person deserve being forgiven, you know, or not. And
Yeah.
that was at the real core of the story. And I think Rodo made really smart choices right there on the set, even though this was his first movie as a director. He has the story so deep inside that he knows exactly what has to happen, and he's a very centered person, so he did really good choices there. But at the same time, it did have this side of fun, and, you know, this violence and crazy shit going on that we enjoyed doing too.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. I'm such a huge Don't Breathe fan. I watched the first one only a couple weeks ago still, and at this point I've
Oh my
probably
god.
seen the second one like 4 or 5 times. I love it so much, man.
What's your favorite part? What's your favorite part of the movie?
From the second or the first?
From the second. Let's talk about the second. I mean,
Oh man. I mean, like, I'm a bit of a bias. Like, I loved it the first time I watched it, and that was before I interviewed any of the guys. But now
yeah,
watching Rocky and like thinking back on our conversation, it's so fun seeing him beat up Stephen Lang's like the blind man, but also get beaten
yeah,
up by the blind man.
yeah.
I think Brandon is so good in the film too. And
And from the first one, what's your favorite part of the first
from
one?
the first one, man, that twist is like when you find out that
The
girl is in the
twist.
basement, man. I mean, the trailers gave it away. I don't know. How did you feel about
Yeah.
that? I didn't see the trailers.
Well, there's a thing. You didn't see the trailers, so you got hit by it
I
pretty strongly, I guess.
I saw it in like 2017 for the first time, so it was already out
Yeah,
for like a year, and I
yeah.
blind bought it on DVD or Blu-ray, I think, at that time.
Ah,
But I didn't see the trailers, so I didn't see that coming at
yeah.
all.
Well, there's a thing about trailers in the US mostly. I mean, I the last 10 movies I shot them there, but there's kind of a feeling that they show everything in the trailer.
Yeah,
There are these big companies that make these trailers, and they have, like, focus groups, and they, like, it's very corporative. And I guess what they go for is like to try to get a feeling, an emotion from the audience.
yeah,
And they think that, the audience probably forgets about what they saw. And now when they see the poster and they say, oh yeah, I remember that trailer, it was great, but not exactly knowing, like, oh, there's a lady that I haven't seen in the first 20 minutes, where is she?
yeah.
uh, so I don't know. I always think the same when I see the trailer of a movie I shot. I say, like, but they showing the whole movie. Anyway, there's a lot more on the movie usually, because the trailer is a trailer. You see,
Oh yeah,
like, I don't know, 18
yeah.
frames of a face, and then. Uh, but I know that trailer making is a constantly evolving art, and they,
Yeah,
like, constantly. I know some people that just make trailers and they discuss this type of stuff.
right. Yeah, I feel like it's too easy to say like, oh, the trailer spoiled the whole thing, and that's dumb because
Yeah,
there is like a
yeah,
whole team behind it trying to figure out what's the best way
yeah,
to do it. And
yeah. And I guess there's like a bigger picture that we may be missing because we are nerds. Oh,
yeah,
look at that. Because we are nerds, and we love movies and we pay so much attention, but maybe a lot of the people, and maybe the
mainstream
bulk,
audience, right?
yeah, the mainstream audience, they don't give a shit about that, and they see the trailer and they say, "Oh, that's really great, it's great." And then when they see the poster, they say, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember about that. That was kind of good, right? Yeah, let's just fucking watch it,
Right.
right?"
Exactly. And well, next question. Um, you talked about the Godfather trilogy and compared it to Don't Breathe.
Yeah.
Will there be a Don't Breathe 3? What do you
Well,
think?
I don't know. I know they have, like, great ideas about it, and
Okay.
I've heard. I'm the DP, right? I'm a cinematographer, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have a word. I don't have a saying on this shit. I don't have a word. I mean, I can try to convince my friends, but it's not only me. And I heard some good ideas, and I know there's, like, kind of the will of doing it, But I don't really know. I don't really. Who knows? It's a wild environment that's changing all the time. And this movie did well, but it didn't do great as the first one. First one was crazy, but at the same time, this one, I mean, I'm really proud of the movie, and I think it's a great movie. When I watch it, I
Oh
really
yeah.
have fun watching it. The financial side of it, I don't know. It did make its money back, and maybe made some money for the people that only care about that. And I can attest that it kept the industry going, because I mean, if a movie make the money back, it means that during 2 or 3 months, a film theater had some people coming in to see the movie, and that means that people bought popcorn, they bought their tickets, they took an Uber there or whatever, or
Yeah.
drove in their own car, paid gas or electricity if they have an electric car, and so and kept the wheels turning, and that's always good,
Yeah, for sure.
because I don't know, I want to keep on going to the big screen to see movies. It's a feeling that I don't get anywhere else.
Oh yeah, me too. For sure.
Yeah.
If Don't Breathe 3 gets made, they already have my money. So
It's yeah, okay, thank you.
and my YouTube channel is all about horror movies. So
Yeah.
what are some of your own favorite horror movies?
Well, I happen to land in the horror movie making by chance, because the story is kind of funny and sad at the same time. We were like with another friend, a film school friend. We were shooting some kind of lame commercial, right? And we were watching a piece of chocolate spinning on a spinner, right, on a turntable. And we were like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? We need to make movies. And we had this idea about making a movie, with this is pre HD cameras. So we had to make a movie on film. And we said, like, I think this friend had the idea of making a movie in 10 rolls of 16 millimeter film, which are 10 minutes each. So he said, like, okay, let's make 10 days, 10 minutes a day, a shot that lasts 10 minutes a day. So we have a 100-minute movie by the end of these days. And that idea stay over there. And then we have another friend that was a producer, and he was working on like on a TV channel or something like that. And he came back from the UK, and he said, like, I spoke with this distributor, and he said, like, hey, I don't care about, those movies, about real life in Uruguay. Oh, nobody watches that. But if you bring me a horror film, well, I don't know, everyone likes that. And I love the normal life movies from Uruguay. By the way, it's not my personal opinion. This is what these guys said.
Right.
And this producer came back and said, like, hey, we need to make a horror film. I can sell a horror film. I was like, whatever. So Gustavo, this friend, took back this idea and said, okay, let's make a movie in a single shot. We put together all these shots.
Yeah.
And that movie did well. And suddenly I had a horror film, And when I went to the US, because Fede made this short film, I don't know if you know that story. Fede made a short film that was one of the first virals, that it wasn't like a blooper or something,
right.
like, and something falling down the staircase. And when Fede released that short that we did together, I did the cinematography, and Rolo was acting on it and helping around. It was like we were like 5 people that did the short, without counting the extras. And Fede went to the US because he started to get calls from the studios to make a movie. And I said, like, okay, I'm coming with you. And I went over there, and I started to show this movie. And I got an agent, and then I made a visa to go work there. And the agent went like, okay, this guy makes horror films, and suddenly you are like drawn into.
Right.
And now I know a lot more than I knew when I was there, but my favorite horror films are the classics, man. I like The Shining. I like, I like the original Alien. I like that kind of stuff. I didn't get into the slasher, even when I was a teenager, I didn't like that horror film that much. I didn't know about it so much. I was, my mother is a psychologist and my dad is an architect. So it was more arty films at home, right?
Right.
My mom would bring, I don't know, 2001, watch it on the
Oh
VHS.
yeah.
And I have a friend that his dad used to have like a video rental store. How do you call that?
Yeah.
Like a Blockbuster, but not a
Yeah.
Blockbuster. It was just a small store, and we used to watch a lot of Terry Gilliam movies, and stuff
Nice.
like that. And then I had my share part of watching TV, and then on TV they will show Friday the 13th,
Oh yeah.
and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and all those 80s slashers that probably were super cheap in the 90s to buy. If you were a TV station in Uruguay, you'll
Yeah.
probably pay $200 and get the movie to play for 3
Right.
million people. And but those are my favorite. Then I got into, like when I remember when I saw Blair Witch, and I
Oh
was
yeah.
so fucking scared.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think I was 18 or 17. And I was like so scared. I went to see it in the by myself on the theater, and I got like fucked scared about it. But yeah, what are your favorite horror
Oh man,
films?
I love my absolute favorite is Intruder from 1989 with
Nice. I'm googling that one right now.
yeah,
Wait,
it,
if I remember, maybe it probably had another name in
right.
Spanish.
Right. It's directed by Scott Spiegel, who was big friends with
Yeah.
Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi.
Uh-huh.
So and Bruce Campbell makes like a cameo. It's like that whole Evil Dead friend
Yeah.
group, but just kind of like Don't Breathe 2, Instead of Fede directing Don't Breathe 2, it's Royo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same story as Sam and Scott.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta watch this one.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
I can't believe I mean, there's so many movies to see. People that are watching this, I don't know. You go there, get that TV on, and start watching movies, because there's no time, man. I mean, I'm getting
no.
older. I have kids. It gets harder and harder.
For sure.
Look at
Yes,
this.
there we go.
Wait, I had a great one. I lost it. Look at this shit.
There you go. Nice.
Ain't that a beauty?
For sure. It's no secret for my viewers that that's my favorite film at this point. Watch it all the time. And here I have some philosophical questions. Maybe you've heard some of these in the other interviews already.
Cool.
But if you ruled the world, what would it look like?
Oh, man, it would be such a mess. but yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. I never thought about that. Maybe because I'm a DP and not a director, right? I always see myself like helping instead of like ruling.
Right.
We definitely will have more film screens
Nice.
to watch more movies. And then it's weird because I feel myself pretty much like a socialist, but I do like some stuff. I don't know. I spend my money on cameras and guitars anyway, but it will be pretty much like a socialist, big socialist country.
Nice.
Not the socialism that the Americans tend to understand, but more like a European country, probably. Maybe, I don't know. It's such a big world, man. I've traveled, and people are complicated, and I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Ruling that shit, no. Let them rule themselves.
Right.
You know what? My first decree would be like, that ruler out of here, and I would like fucking flee.
That's kind of what Brandon said too. He was like, I hope there will be a big revolution and anarchy.
Exactly.
And if you could change one characteristic about yourself, what would you change?
Oh my God. I would change so much. The thing is, you know, you don't know when you're wrong, right? And when you're wrong, you think you're right.
Yeah.
And that's tough, you know. So I would like to be able to hear my instincts a little bit more clearly, because I hear them, and in a lot of the work I do, and a lot of my relationships with my family and stuff, I feel something, but usually I cannot, you know, take action immediately. Sometimes I realize later that, oh yeah, I had that feeling. I knew it deep
Right.
inside. I knew it, but I didn't do anything because I couldn't listen to it. You know, I couldn't hear
Yeah.
what he was saying. I knew there was something odd or off, or and I would change that. I would amplify my internal speaker, and and try to hear myself a little bit
Yeah.
better. You know, try to be a little bit more calm. I'm very calm though, but I try to, you know, hear that a little bit better. And in other like parts of my life, I think I, you know, I pretty much did whatever I wanted, um, within the restraints of my own self, right?
Yeah.
Of my own economic position or place in the world or intellectual limitations. You know, I try to live my life as fully as I can, and I hope I have at least another 40 years.
Let's hope so.
At least, I mean, if you give me 20, it's fine. But if I can ask, you know, I would ask for 40, 50
40.
more.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm way older than you.
Yeah.
You have.
I'd hope I'd
You
have more
probably
than
have.
40 years, but
Oh yeah, definitely you do. You have like probably. Let me see your face. You probably have 78 more. Also, you were born. Also, you were born in Holland. That you have a pretty cool health care system. You know, you're
yeah,
fine.
true. That's very true. And what's some advice you would like to give to upcoming filmmakers?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's one piece of advice that's, I think it's the most important one. That's like do stuff. You know, give me quantity. Don't give me quality. I don't care about quality now. Still now I do. But when you're starting, I think you gotta shoot as much as you can, because there's no other way of learning than, you know, fucking it up.
Right.
Once you fuck something up, you learn your lesson. It's not I'm not getting there anymore. I know what's coming.
Yeah.
So it's better to fuck it up when you can with your friends, you know, like be ashamed of yourself with your friends and your family. They're gonna always have your back, than to, you know, fuck it up in the big leagues and then say like, oh shit, I don't have another chance. So
yeah.
and I think, no, actually I think that, you know, I I was like one generation late to this camera revolution. For us, it was like a pain in the ass to get a good camera that you could actually project the movie in the big screen. You had to get film, and that was super expensive. You had to go to a lab, and it was like a pain in the ass. Now, you know, it's fairly simple to get
Yeah.
a good camera with some decent lens. You know, I just, the last movie I shot, it was Paranormal Activity 7,
Oh, nice.
which
It's
is
really
this
funny you mentioned that because
yeah,
yesterday I recorded my reaction. I also do like movie reaction on this channel.
yeah,
Yesterday I
cool.
recorded my reaction to the first one
To
because I had
next
never
up,
seen it.
to the first one. Whoa, that's
Yeah, I
pretty
haven't.
scary. That works pretty well, huh?
Man, I was like, maybe some people have seen the reaction already, but I was like screaming during that last jump scare. That got me so good, man.
Yeah. So we made the next one that's actually out on Paramount Plus. It's
Yeah,
called Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, right?
nice.
So it was pretty fun. I mean, the critics totally blasted the movie, but I still think it's a great movie. When I watch it, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's what we were talking about, instincts and listen to your inner
Yeah.
self. I felt there was something there, but also I'm a DP. I cannot be on everything because I don't have the same practice as the director and producer have
Yeah.
doing movies. And also I'm so focused on the picture that sometimes it doesn't, it's not my place.
Right.
But anyway, I'm really proud of the movie. I think it looks great and it delivers. And I used part of this movie. I shot it with a Sony Alpha 1. It's the latest Sony. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's not that different to the camera that you have there in your desk.
Yeah.
And the lenses I used, we had some other stuff, but probably a lot of the movie we shot with these car size lenses that are like also available. I mean, they're expensive to buy, but probably someone has one of those.
Right.
And I used a lot of, like the auto focus function, with where I had a guy, a proper first assistant camera. Like we had two. I had a girl, Cherry, she was great, but this happened to be this other. It was the big camera operator because this was the big camera, and he had the phone and he was like monitoring. He was like tapping on the phone where the focus is supposed to be, and the camera will track that. So if you tap in my eye, then I go like this, and and everything is sharp.
Yes.
So it's not that far away. You can make a pretty decent looking movie with really not many resources.
Yeah.
Of course, you need time and you need, like some production design, but you can actually write something that, uses whatever elements you have.
Yeah.
I mean, we shot The Silent House for $8,000, with friends.
Yeah.
And the movie was a pretty big hit, I mean, it's a Uruguayan movie, but it was sold in 31 territories. It got remade in the US. Elizabeth Olsen is on it. Before she was Wanda, this is like probably 10 years ago.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I think, my advice is like, go get some shit, shoot, write stuff, even though that it may not be perfect. Don't be afraid of, don't try to be perfect. Just try to, maybe if you have a short film and you got one good scare, it's a big hit,
Yeah.
And
that can lead to like a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna learn a lot, and then you're gonna say, "Hey, that scare worked. Let's do it again."
Yeah.
Because self-plagiarism is style.
Oh yeah.
You can copy yourself. You can copy yourself. You can copy others too. Tarantino does it all the time, and everybody loves him. And I think it's great because when you copy, you're not gonna be this. You're not gonna be the same as you're copying. When you copy something, you're putting it through your own filter.
Right.
So two pieces of advice: copy as much as you can, and go do shit.
Nice.
Go shoot stuff. Sorry about it. Was a little lengthy, but it
no, that's perfect. Advice shouldn't be rushed. And then your final question: if your life was a movie, how would you want it to end?
Good Lord, I would like
besides in 40 years, of course. We already know that.
Well, if I had to put an end to my life right now, you mean?
No. Like
in the next
in 40 years, I don't know.
Oh man,
whatever.
It has to end like one of those beautiful movies, like let me think, because it could be something that, I traveled in time and then I come to my daughter, like similar to Interstellar, maybe.
Right.
No, I'd rather, I would say it's a beautiful summer afternoon in some place like resembles to Italy. Somehow there's a window open and the sun is coming through.
Oh man,
and the family is all there. A little breeze, and I'm an old man, an old guy, like really old, like a fucking leaf of a man, and and I'm surrounded by a huge family. You know, my daughters are there, and you know, the daughters of my daughters and the daughters and sons of my. You know, I have how do you say, like,
Legacy.
no, like when you have your when you're grandpa, you have your grandkids. I have
Yeah.
my grandkids are over
Right.
there. And also my wife is still living, and she's still beautiful, and she goes like, now you can go in peace, and just close my eyes and it ends forever.
Nice. Credits roll from there. Sounds
Credits
beautiful
roll.
to me.
No, but you know what? Also, it could be like that second I look at the camera, I go like,
Yeah, yeah.
image frozen. It's right, and you don't know it's an open end.
Right. Or like really old school, like it
Yeah,
it
exactly.
closes
Like
in
in
with
the
like a
end.
circle, you know, to black.
Oh, that's cool too. I like that. You know, like.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right in the eye.
Oh my God. No, no, no. Let's see. I mean, luckily, life is not a movie, and it's more complex and
Oh yeah,
lengthy,
for sure.
and yeah, and difficult.
Yeah. Awesome. I feel like this is the perfect note to wrap it up on.
All righty, my friend. It's so
Awesome.
good.
Thank you so much for your time. And to everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. See ya.